right. So, Janti, thank you very much for your introduction. Again, just to introduce myself, I'm Roland Enriquez, and I'm your speaker for this topic. So, for today, my topic is not the usual topic that we normally share with you, right? It's really more about safety, specifically how to reduce incident by managing the human error. As you know, as a background, Chevron is involved in a, how do you call this? In a risky kind of business. What I'm saying is our product is designed to burn. So that's why we need to make sure that we operate safely because one of our values is to protect people and our environment, right? We don't want to harm or cause damage to the community where we operate, or we don't want to cause injury to the people, employees, and around us, right? So I believe my topic is also equally relevant to you because incident has some sort of, there's a cause of incident, right? And worse, it might result to serious injury or fatality. Okay? Now, please bear with me. Please keep an open mind because I'm going to share with you something, a subject that some they say quite controversial or contradicting to what to the normal knowledge that we have. Okay, so please keep an open mind, and you can ask your questions later. All right. To begin with, uh, maybe my question now is, how do you find safety? Because in Chevron, we have a new definition of safety. Safety is not the absence of incidents, but more of presence of safeguards. Maybe you're asking, why the change, right? Well, basically, the change is we found out, again, I'm speaking from the perspective of Chevron, that we are better in managing the safeguards to prevent an incident than managing the incident as well. So that's why this is now our new definition of safety. Of course, our aspiration is still the same. Zero incident or zero accident is also our aspiration. However, in terms of defining the safety right now in the Chevron, we call it safety is the presence of safeguards. Okay. Now, as I've said a while ago, right? Managing incident, right? Preventing incident. Actually, the objective is to eliminate. However, you just need to be careful, right? Because it's more realistic to reduce the incident than really preventing it. And we can do that by, how do you call it? Managing the human aspect of everything. Because as we all know, right? Whether your system is manually operated or automatically operated, there are still people or the worker who are involved in the process, in the equipment, in the execution of the certain topics. But first, let me share with you the hazard, the what we call the hazard wheel, right? So this is our visual tool to identify the hazards that is always present around us, right? These are the hazards that has a potential to cause an injury just in case you are exposed to it, you touch it like the electricity, or if this is released in an uncontrolled manner. So for this topic, for my webinar, right, let's just focus on hazards like physical, biological, and chemical hazards. All right. So what I'm saying are these are the hazards that we need to be aware of because if these hazards are released in uncontrolled manner, the result would be an incident. Okay. Just to give an example, motion hazard. Motion is like driving a car, right? So if the car, you drive a car, it's a moving object, and if it is the driver commit an error, it has a potential to cause property damage or injury, right? Electrical hazard is another thing, right? If you touch on the exposed electrical wire, there's a potential for you to get electrocuted. Biological, well, yeah, good example is very timely right now. The COVID thing, right? If you are not yet vaccinated and you're not wearing your face shield or face mask, then that is a hazard, the virus around you that would has a potential to impact you. Okay, so if we define incident is incident happen when you are exposed unintentionally to this hazard, right? So that is the incident as related to hazard identification wheel. Okay, any question? So these are grouped into three: the physical hazards, the chemical hazards, and the biological hazard. Okay, so we put it in a wheel to, how do you say it, to have a quick reference charge for us to manage or to assess the hazard, so to reduce the potential of incident. Okay, so we talk about incident, right? Going back to my next slide. Now, as Chevron is, yeah, we are involved in a high risk activities, right? We're in, again, as I mentioned a while ago, right? Our products are designed to burn or has a potential to damage uh, impact and environment, right? And as we operate, right, we encountered some actual incidents, some major, some minor, some near misses, right? And again, just like any other company, we normally investigate that incident, as you could see on the left side, right? And what is the main reason? We investigate the incident because we don't want to happen it again. We want to prevent recurrence, which is really the main objective, right? And this is what we found out. From the incidents, or what we call also known as operational upsets, you can group it into two. The equipment failure, which is around 20%, or what we call the equipment factor, and another one is due to the human error or human error. Okay, now out of the human error, right, we found out further that the error were caused by organizational weaknesses. Of course, they're really related to the individual mistakes, but then again, 70% of that is related to organizational weaknesses. Okay, now this is what we found out. During the time that we're doing our incidents investigation to really prevent recurrence, our normal tendency is after we identify the root causes, right? And we normally stop when we identify that this is due to a human error, which is not correct, right? So right now there is a really a shift in a perspective. We no longer stop on the human error, but then again we go to the organization. We want to try to see the organizational weaknesses, and that is the context of human and organizational performance, as you have seen, right? What is the HOP? The HOP in relation to our operation, right? Okay, bottom line, in our incident, out of the 80% human error, 70% of that is driven by the organizational weaknesses, meaning that is beyond the person. Okay, now let me talk about what is HOP. So HOP is really this is HOP. Again, as you could see on the slide, right? What they're saying is that's the way the people, culture, equipment, work, and processes interact as a system, right? So yeah, as an employee or a worker, right? You need a work system to do your job. You need a process to do your job, and sometimes it's a combination of everything, right? But basically, HOP, right? Uh, what we're saying is it's really a shift in a philosophical thinking, anticipating that people will make mistakes. And since we anticipate that people will make mistakes, we will consider that in preparation, uh, in managing or in preparing our safeguards, right? So that is HOP. Uh, Maybe the quick definition is HOP, the objective is to make it easier to get it right and harder to get it wrong. And what's the reason? Because we all know people are not perfect. We all know that people has the ability to commit mistakes. this HOP kind of thing really is a shift in our thinking that let's anticipate in advance that people will make mistakes so that when we design our work system, culture, process, and equipment, we take into account that the people is not perfect. Again, this is a complete shift as compared before, right? What I'm saying is before when we design a system, we think that the people are perfect, hoping that the people are perfect, that they will do the job accurately, efficiently, 100% of the time. Okay? So that is HOP, which is really the objective is to make it for our people, right? Our employee, to everybody, to make it easier to get it right and harder to get it wrong. Okay? Moving on. All right, so as I said, right, HOP is really a different way of thinking, a shift in philosophical thinking, assuming and anticipating that people will make mistakes, right? Because it's really important that let's recognize it in advance, let's assume it in advance that people will make mistakes, right? So that it will help us to put solution or safeguards to make it hard for them to make it mistakes and easy to be successful. Okay? And I'll give you an example, right? So I know you're all using, you're seeing it in your software, right? That in your emails, that if you want to delete something, you are prompted by this message, right? And again, this is one way to, it's a kind of safeguards that what I'm saying, right? So this is a reminder. So the question, are you sure you want to delete, right? And just in case that you said okay, but then again you realize, oh, I should have not deleted it, you can still recover it from the trash bin, right? Again, that mistake that you created, you have the ability to recover. Okay, so that is one example. But then again, if the author of the software is really smart, right? Uh, I can put something like this, right? This email sounds angry. Are you sure you want to send it, right? Again, this is another reminder to manage the people that will make mistakes, right? Yeah, particularly me. It happens to me. Sometimes not sometimes, a couple of times I sent email that I regret sending, right? So that's why if I have this kind of reminder, maybe I will reduce that kind of incident. Another example is a USB on the right. I know you are all very familiar with this thing, right? Although some companies in the laptops they already disengage the USB kind of thing for virus reason. But this is a good example of managing the people will make mistakes, right? So my question here is how many times you can insert the USB correctly? One or two, right? Well, the answer is really one. You can only insert this USB correctly only once because the other one, that is not correct. But that is a good demonstration that if you committed an error of inserting the USB incorrectly, what will happen? Nothing will happen, right? So again, that is a good safeguard for people making mistakes, right? Okay, so these are a sample of human and organizational performance. Meaning, let's anticipate that people will make mistakes and design a system that will help the people um, that in case they made a mistake, they can still recover. Okay? Now, in terms of the concepts, right? Okay, let me go back on this one first. Let me clarify that not all mistakes are created equal. Okay, there are two types of mistakes. One mistake is recoverable, and another one is non-recoverable. Recoverable means, as I've said, right? If you inserted the USB incorrectly, you just need to twist it and insert it again. I can recover in that error. Or if you incorrectly deleted your message, it can go to the trash bin, you can recover it again. So that means that kind of error is recoverable. Now, the error that we want to prevent is something that we cannot recover or something that has a potential to result to serious injury and fatality. we want to prioritize on that thing. Uh, we will not apply HOP or human and organizational performance in everything that we do. And again, for obvious reason, right? We need to prioritize, and we need to focus on the things that really matters to us, and that is related to the mistakes that is not recoverable. Okay. All right. My next slide is around HOP principles, right? Quickly, well, this topic is normally 4 hours, but for these purposes, I'll just give you, I think I just want to focus on one concept, which is error is normal, right? But basically, these are the 5 HOP principles. This is something that you need to apply, you need to institutionalize in your operation if you want to increase your chances of preventing incident in your operation, right? Number one is really error is normal. So, well, we all know, right? People is not perfect. We have all the ability to commit the mistakes. Okay, so error is normal. The second one is system influence behavior. Okay, what we're saying here is whatever systems we put in place, it affects the people that work within that system. And why the people behave that way? The people, our worker, behave based on the system that we put. Okay. Third, and I know you will agree with me, right? Blame fixes nothing, right? So nothing, you cannot accomplish anything if you blame somebody. And the fourth one is learning and improving is essential. Okay, so we need to continuously learn so that we can improve. Okay, later on I will provide a more context on that. Another one is response matters, and this is basically for the leaders. Okay, error is normal, right? And then my question here, who makes the most error or mistakes in your organization? And the next question is, which mistakes matter most, right? All right, maybe you're familiar with this slide, right? Miss Universe 2015 and Steve Harvey. So what can you say about this one, right? All right, this is the incident wherein Steve Harvey committed the error of announcing the incorrect Miss Universe. But then again, what I'm saying is even the best and the brightest have the ability to commit mistakes. So it's not limited to the new employee, to the new one, or the inexperienced. Even the best and the brightest have the capacity to commit mistakes. And as you would see, the slide on the right, right? Uh, Whoever designed this slide, uh, how do you call this? Set Steve Harvey to fail, right? Okay. So again, what I'm saying here is even the best and the brightest has the ability to commit mistakes. So error is normal, right? All right. Now, this slide refers to an error trap. So what is it? Well, error trap is more upon the things that make error more likely. What I'm saying is, people, as a human being, we have the ability to commit mistakes. You throw in some additional organizational factors, individual factors, task demands, then you have the chance to make the error more likely. Okay, so you put some pressure, you put a poorly written procedure, and then expect people to commit more mistake. Okay, so this is error traps. These are the conditions. These are the things that we need to manage if you want to to reduce or eliminate incident. Then you need to be mindful of this. Okay. Okay, so this is another error traps, right? So anybody can press the emergency stop button here, assuming it's an emergency. Do you think you can easily identify it? Okay, so these are just a sample of error traps. On the left, which one do you think is going up or going down? Assuming you are in emergency, right? Going to the hospital and you press the wrong button. Okay, so these are samples of error traps that will make the people, the imperfect people, to commit more mistakes. All right, and then sample of procedure. Okay, if you're asking your people to follow their procedure and your procedure is vaguely written, what would you expect? Right? Potential error. So again, if the potential of error of not, consequence of not following procedure is something that you don't like, make sure your procedure is written properly. Okay? So yeah, this one is just what I'm saying, that again, aside from the people, that people are has the tendency to commit mistake, taking shortcut is also a human nature, right? It's a human nature for us, right? For example, this is just a demonstration. This is your way going to the left, right? But instead going here because it's far, you go direct. We have the tendency of taking shortcuts, or we have a tendency to look for efficiencies. Okay, what is my message here? My message here really is, if you want to reduce or eliminate incident, then we need to take into account the tendency of the human to look for efficiency or to take shortcuts. Okay, all right. Okay, now I'm almost done, huh? So again, to further demonstrate, right? The black line is normally how work should be done, and this is the procedure, this is the standard, right? But in reality, the blue line, our worker, right, normally deviate from this line, and what they call it a normal drip, and we drip for a good reason: change in environment, malfunctioning equipment. People has a tendency to drip, and they drip because of the condition I mentioned, and they drip because they want to finish the job. Majority of the time, they will complete the job completely without incident, and then we celebrate it, right? But then again, most of the time, there will be time that it will result in incident. So what I'm saying here is, during the time that you completed the job, conduct a look back and learn why they drifted and adjust the standard as needed. Okay? In summary, if you want really to improve your chances of reducing incident, if not totally eliminate it, expect that the people will commit mistake. That's one. Second, expect that people will deviate from procedure, and recognize it in advance, consider it in advance, so that when you design your system, your software, your equipment, you have an error tolerance system, deviation tolerance system that can compensate for that from the drip around the procedure of the or the error committed by the person. That way, it will give you a better chance of reducing the incident. Okay, HOP, and this is my last slide. Well, it's nothing new. It's just a new lens. We all know that people is not perfect, right? We all know that people will make mistakes. The change that I'm asking you is, recognize it proactively in advance and design your system with that into consideration. So it's just a new lens, right? Look at it differently. Okay? And that's all I had to share. And thank you very much for listening to me.